Well, you mentioned that Demonic was quite a heavy record, but you've also said that, because I want to go into the new record now, that Brotherhood of the Snake is perhaps the heaviest or the fastest record you've made.
I would say the fastest, but I just think it's putting us back to the mentality of what we did. Because when we did the Dark Roots record, we're very proud of it. Had some great songs, but I think what was missing out of it, there were couple fast songs, but it was still missing that thrash or attitude that we didn't have that was on like Demonic or the Formation records. Those were much faster and heavier. So when we were working on this, we knew that we want to pick it up. We needed to be more intense and faster, like the Gathering or the Formation record. So we knew going into it we wanted to pick up the tempos a little more. But I also wanted to sing a little more though. I wanted to be faster, but I wanted to still have melody and still have some hooks in there too.
Was this difficult to do? Because you mentioned that with Demonic, it was difficult for you to sing on it, and then so how did you balance this with the new record?
Well, I chose that. The music makes me. I have to listen to music, and the vibe of the music is what I'm going to kind of do and sing, and maybe even write about. Where I think I used just enough of the death stuff in the right spots on this record, because it's not like I couldn't use anything. I mean, there is some heavier, more intense riffs and songs that called for that kind of a voice, like Can of Business. There's some in there that's a little more heavier. But I still wanted not to lose the sight of keeping it catchy, having some hooks and catchy vocal phrases and have some cool words and stuff like that.
Sure. What was the first track you started working on after the whole Dark Roots kind of tour ended?
Well, we had a lot of riffs, but the first song that was completed was actually Brotherhood of the Snake.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe 2 months before we went into the studio to record the album, we completed that song, had the lyrics, and we decided let's record it, possibly put out a single, but also maybe see if we use another producer other than Andy Sneap. Maybe there's somebody else out there that might give a better sound or production, or might make it different. Just try something. It couldn't hurt. So we decided to record that song and have like Randy Staub, a different producer, mix it, and he did a good job. But at the end of the day, we ended up sending it to Andy and saying, "What do you think?" And and he would tell us, "Oh, he's missing this. He needs to do that." We'd go back to Andy, "Oh, try this, try that," and it got to where we were happy. But we did realize that Andy knows our sound. He knows who we are. We need to go back to Andy and stick with him.
And because that is the title track. Conceptually, did you already have in mind what the album would be about?
When we came up with Brotherhood of the Snake, at that point, because originally, in the last couple records, I was trying to write more lyrics about real things, losing your parents or getting ill, or things that just were real that affected people.
Why this change? Why did you want to focus more on these real things? Do you know?
Because I wanted to kind of just get away from your typical cliche kind of heavy metal lyric, gloom, doom, cemeteries, zombies. I wanted to kind of have something more to say, I guess, because as we started, we were always kind of conscious about the environment or our planet and stuff like that. Those were real. But this year, I know Eric said, let's stray away from writing about us and being so real. Let's come up with some cool stories and some cool words. And I said, okay. So I was hooked on, I watched a TV series called Ancient Aliens, and it had a lot of stuff about aliens and religion that kind of caught my attention, because it showed religions going back in time that also showed around the world, like different religions around the world long time ago, in their writings or writings on the walls or whatever, there was always these alien beings with long bodies and arms and big heads and flying objects in the sky. And it kind of made me think, like, wow, maybe there is aliens, or maybe there is something to this. How did they all see the same thing?
Right.
And it's all within their religions, because it's a bigger power, and maybe it's a god to them back then. So that kind of first opened my attention to the alien part of it in religion. And then I came across the story Brotherhood of the Snake. And when I came upon that story, it was about a secret society over 6,000 years ago that was actually out on a crusade to kind of devalue religions, and that religions aren't good, and here's what we are, here's our belief. And their belief was there was an alien king, a god or a king or an alien being named Anu, who basically created mankind to serve as a slave down on planet Earth, to mine for our minerals and gold and stuff. So I'm like, wow, that's kind of a cool story. There's kind of a creation of a lot we can build on. And then with my ancient alien story, it all kind of came together. So that's when I told Eric, what about the Brotherhood of the Snake? I told him and had him read the story. And he liked it. He's like, wow, I like that. That'd be a good title for the record. So that's when we said, okay, we were in agreement. All right, that's what kind of set the ball rolling of where we're going to go lyrically and kind of create something not so real, I guess.
Right.
But it could be real. I mean, it could be aliens, and we're talking about reality, but it's so far-fetched to believe. You can go make up a story with it.
Well, there's something very interesting, and it might be a bit personal, so and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but were you raised Catholic?
I was raised Catholic. Mother was very religious. Went to church every Sunday and catechism classes after school, and my parents were really religious. Yeah.
And then, but I read that when you got ill in 2000, I think 2001, that you also, because you obviously you have Native American heritage, that you went back to Native American healing. And
I did both. I did chemotherapy, but also I was looking for something else, because when you're told you have cancer, right away you think, okay, I'm dead.
Right.
And so I wanted to try anything, to help me heal it, or just mentally kind of prepare, And so I've had some medicine come to my house and do some healings on me, and I've went through some really wild stuff with them that really kind of opened my eyes to more, not religion, but spirituality. And believing in something, and that kind of made me open my eyes to maybe there is something to other religions, and understand why the other religions are so strong in their beliefs of their God or their power. But it's something that kind of opened me up, that it was like a spirituality, really.
I might have misheard it, but there's a line in Neptune Spear, I think, an open mind is a weapon.
Yeah.
So can I tie this in with that you kind of had that?
Well, yeah, but all of it kind of ties together, those lines in there. But that song, Neptune Spear, was really a song about when we went after Osama bin Laden, because SEAL Team 6, the mission that they were on was called Neptune Spear.
Okay.
So that's what that song's about, basically, is them storming the walls, getting intel, capturing him, having the green light, and basically one-shot kill. But there's some songs that kind of tie in, but they were kind of, when we were when I was writing lyrics, at some point I was like, okay, I can't keep writing every song with one thing in mind. There's got to be other stuff, and the feeling of the music makes me hear or create what the story is going to be about. So songs like Neptune Spear or Blackjack or Can of Business were songs that kind of were on its own, but they still tie into the earth, politics, you know, stuff like that.
And like you said, you've never shied away in your lyrics from political beliefs. And would you censor yourself in terms of what you wanted to say?
No, I wouldn't censor myself, no.
Okay.
No, you know, I think there's always a message in anything you write. And I think like when we're writing the, Greenhouse Effect must have been on Practice What You Preach. You know, I would find that kids are like, you know, they're like Greenhouse Effect that was about growing marijuana in a greenhouse. It's like, no. They're like, they didn't know about global warming or didn't care. They were young teenagers that were into music and having a good time, sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Right.
So if there was a message there within what we were doing, cool. So there's still kind of a message in things we sing and write about still.
Final question then, because with what you just mentioned, do you think you yourself and the band is perhaps sometimes misunderstood?
No, not really, because I mean, what we believe, we're never a band that says, this is what I believe and you need to believe this too.
Right.
We always leave it open for interpretation. You know, we can only write what's on our mind and what we think, are aware of, and try to make people other awareness, or like I said, how they interpret. Songs are meant to be interpreted by how you might have something going on with that you could relate to. You know, all songs you can, you know, it doesn't mean what the writer meant it to mean, you know.
Sure. I think my time's up, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.